Hello and welcome back to Knitting Lessons, and today we are doing the sleeves. So currently you should have 5mm of our ribbing stitch. So that's on the 8mm double pointed needles. So we're knitting in a nice circle and you should be ready to do the rest of the sleeve. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch up to the 10mm needles. Now our instructions here are: switch the 10mm double pointed needles and knit one round. If you're doing the sizes large, or extra large, you're going to have to increase one stitch at the beginning and the midpoint of the round. So this is where you knit a strand of yarn between the stitches through the back loop, and I'll show you how to do that. If you're just doing regular knitting, because you're not having to do these extra ones, then that's just our knit stitch. So you've done that before, that's what the body was like. Just carry on with the knit stitch and I'll show you how to change needles. But if you're not just going to carry on with the regular knit stitching, how to do the increase, I'll show you that as well in this video. So we'll start with carrying on with regular knit stitch. So we've got to the end of our circle. This is our row we're going to start. I've got my 10mm needle here, although obviously it's all 8s in this so far. All we're going to do is we're just going to start knitting like that. Make sure you pull tight at the beginning of each row as before, but just knitting on, but with the 10mm needle rather than the 8mm. And then when you get to the end of the row, you get rid of your 8mm needle. You chuck it as far away from yourself as you can, because I know I've made the mistake where I've carried on knitting accidentally with one 8mm and the rest 10mm, and it doesn't, oh, I keep knocking the camera. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it just makes it really uncomfortable when you try to knit again, when you come to that row and then you end up with a 10mm and the stitches are too small, and it's just really frustrating. So we get rid of our 8mm, that's replaced with the 10, pick up our next 10 and carry on knitting. So that's all we do. If you're doing the increased stitches, this is what we do. So it says to, where is it? Increase one stitch at the beginning and midpoint of the round. Knit the strand of yarn between the stitches through the back loop. So if you're at the beginning, imagine this is the beginning one. This is our strand of yarn between. So all we do is we use this needle to pick it up. So we go from the front round the back, pick it up like it's a new stitch. And then when they say through the back loop, what that does is it helps us to make sure this stitch, this new one we've made, isn't too baggy. So rather than knitting it like that, which we usually would, we go to the back and we go behind. It's a bit stiff. And then we get our yarn and we wrap around, pull through and pull that new stitch off, just like we would with normal knitting. And then you carrying on with your knit stitches all the way until you get halfway through, and then you'll want to do the same again. So I'll just show you again. We're between our needles. Actually, let's show you, imagine that, let me do some more. Imagine that it's your midway stitch, and that will be halfway through one of your needles. This is what it will look like this time. So this is our between stitches. So we get our needle in our left hand, we go and pick this up from the front, and then we get our needle that we're using, our new 10mm needle, and we go in through the back, knit, take that off and let this new stitch go. And there we go, we made a new stitch. It's a really easy technique, it makes really nice neat stitches, and yeah, I prefer this one to other forms of increasing stitches. So as I say, give it a go. And then for your sleeve, you just carry on knitting in that regular knit stitch all the way around until the piece measures the length that you need. So for me it'd be 29 centimeters, but make sure it's the right length for you. And then I'll see you in the next video to make sure that the ending of the sleeve fits into the armhole, and we'll carry on with the rest of the body of the jumper. So best of luck with it. Let me know if you've got any problems, and I look forward to catching up with you in our next video.